How's it going? My name is Leroy Trusty. I am your instructor for this class, and welcome to Safety 311. And this is a course that's going to help you understand the fundamentals of occupational safety and health. So while I get into this, let me just kind of go over my readings for this course, and that is some of the things that you need to have, and that is the 29 CFR 1910. There should be a link, an active link in the course for that. Make sure that you check it out. If not, you can go to the OSHA.gov page. That's where you're going to find it. The other text that you're going to be using is the TPLS text. If you don't have that yet, don't worry about that. You've got time to gather that. Anyway, let me just, that just gives you a broad opening right there as far as what you need. Who am I? I am your instructor. I've been teaching for Riddle since '95. I've been in the world of safety since, I'd say about 1984. I've worked in all aspects of safety, anywhere from industrial ground safety up through nuclear surety, explosive safety, weapon safety, and got heavily involved in flight safety. And some of the ways or reasons why I did that is because of the boss that I had. Came in one day and said, we had a bird strike on the flight line. I looked around and I said, well, I don't see any of the flight guys. And he said, I'm not talking to any flight guys, I'm talking to you. And what he expected was that I take over the job of investigating a bird strike. So I started out, the first thing I had to do is go out and find the aircraft, talk to the air crew, and then pull the bird out of the cowling and start my investigation. Now, that was really one of those cold aspects of getting into it. I had to dissect the bird, and I had to get a lot of the information out of it, get into the gizzards, and find out what it's been eating, and trying to get the grains. I talked to the folks. This was back when the Air Force Safety Center was out at Norton. I talked to those folks, and then I had to talk to the folks at Smithsonian, and I became a ornithologist in a way, because I started learning birds, bird feathers, migration habits, and all that. That was one of the first introductions to really aviation safety. So I taught aviation safety for a long time for Riddle and for a consultant. System safety engineer, I've been that. I have worked that area for a while. I've presented some papers in system safety. And system safety is a little different from the industrial safety aspect, because what we try to do is do more of the forensics from the beginning or the design stage. We're working on safety there. And then I've also worked, again, like I said, a consultant with international companies, mostly aviation, but a few ground-type operations as well. First part of my Air Force career was in munitions. I was a 461 at the time, an ammo troop. And then the last half of that, my Air Force career was in safety. Started out as the explosive safety and nuke surety NCO, and then moved into the ground safety operations. And I spent a lot of time in that area. So anyway, that's where I was. And afterwards, worked for a company, a government contractor. Worked for Allied Signal at the time as a system safety engineer. Worked for them for a while. Worked for Southern California Safety Institute. I worked for Flight Safety Services as a courseware designer. And I worked for Riddle as full-time faculty and center director. Not the center director, but the faculty side of the house. And so did that for a while, and then took over a program down at Trinidad State Junior College, which is the Occupational Safety and Health program. Ran that program for 2 years, and then from there moved on into a safety position for a nonprofit, and then due to downsizing, of course, having to find other jobs. And so I got into the role of the instructional designer and director of e-learning here at Hartford Community College in Bel Air, Maryland. That's where I'm at now. Originally started out in Colorado. But that's where I'm at, but my background is in safety. I am qualified to teach both the 10 and 10 and 30 hour OSHA courses, both in general industry and construction trades. So that's where my background is. Now, what I want to talk about now is how do we get into this course and how do we really get involved. As you log into this course, some of the things that you need to be aware of is, one, keep checking the announcements page, because I will add items or topics to that. You will want to get into the Start Here. That's going to be the first primary area that you're going to work with. A lot of information here that will help you in your course. And that will get you started. And besides the modules, excuse me, you're going to get into the discussion board. I believe in the discussion board. I believe it's important to get involved in the discussions. I don't answer each and every discussion. I do get involved in the discussion. I want it to be between you, the students. I want this discussion between you. I don't want to, yes, I agree, no, I don't agree, but I want to hear the reasons why. It's more than just kind of giving a standard boilerplate answer, because in the world of safety, that's going to be a key thing. You have to be able to give some good qualified answers. Here's why I believe this is the case. It might be references, it may be opinion, but you have to have that there. Okay? So, I do have an online office. It's here for you. The student lounge, I do not really get into the student lounge. I'll look at it on occasion, but that's between you and your classmates. The introduction, give me an introduction. Tell me who you are. Let me know so that I have a better understanding of where you're coming from. And then when you get into some of these discussions, put the discussion in there. Put it in a full, don't put an attached document. Some of the students that I hear from is that if they're on the run, they're using a mobile device, they may not be able to open up that page or that document that you've posted, be it a Word document or whatever. One of the things we want to do when we talk about documents, though, and I'll talk about that in a minute, is making sure we have the right formats. But try to, if you write it out in a Word document or a Google Docs or whatever, copy that and paste it into the discussion board so we can read it and be able to take from that and move on. One of the other areas that, again, is that we'll be discussing throughout the course is your paper. You're going to be submitting a paper for a topic, or you have the alternative. Now I want you to read into those. Read that thoroughly. Make sure that you read the syllabus on this, and make sure that you read this, as well as I have a link further down that I call My Take on the Class. And in this, I have identified what it's going to take to write a paper. You're in a 300 level course here in college, and it's important that you understand that, and the Alternative Hazard Project. Oftentimes what we do is we like to pull pictures from the web. I do that all the time myself to bring home some points. But all too often we bring in pictures from the web that's from Europe or Asia or wherever, and it doesn't apply to here. And I'm going to be very specific to that. It has to apply to here in the U.S. Whatever that's under 1910, whatever territories and states that are covered by that. I'm kind of a stickler on that. Now, with that, I also, as you get into this, some of the areas that I look at, and I had to wave my hand because I've got this light that keeps shutting on and off. I can't seem to get it to where it just stays on for any length of time. And you'd think as much as I move around it wouldn't happen that way. But anyway, back to the subject. Some of the other things that we'll be talking about as you go into this, you'll have assignments. Some of those assignments are going to require you to go through and look at some photos and give me a reference. What I want you to do, and this is just kind of, and I'll talk about this later in another video, but as you get into these assignments, what I want you to do is I want you to get into drill down. Not just, don't give me a 1910 subpart E. Okay, I want to see if it's paragraph 300 is a 300 B1 A5. That's what I want to know. Very specific, because in the world of safety, you can come up with a lot of generalizations, but all too often you need to get very specific. Because as a manager or a CEO of a company, don't tell me that I got to be safe. You need to be very specific, because that's where the money is. Because if I can show you that here's where you're going to get fined, that's gives you a lot better standing, I guess is be the best way to look at that. People will see that far better than if you just give a general, yeah, let's be safe. Because we talk about that all the time. Anyway, that's all part of that. A couple of other areas that I just want to identify under the discussion board, and that is further down. Besides my take on the class, I have other discussions in safety that identify and outline some things that's in safety that you may not receive in this class. Things that I've picked up as going to the various OSHA courses, being real-time in safety, working with a lot of different companies, a lot of different ideas. Then, of course, the last one here that I have on the discussion page, if you're just looking for something, and that is the cafe. And that's where we'll talk about the Broncos beating the Ravens at the NFL opening game, and the NFL crying about the fact it was the Orioles that caused them to lose, which I don't understand. But anyway, that's the way it works. Anyway, this is the way getting into the class, and I like to make it fun. I want you to get involved in this, and I want you to understand safety, because it's all too often we go into safety with kind of a blinders on. I want you to go in it. I want you to go in it with the eyes open and with an open mind. And how is it that you're going to make things safer? Anyway, that's where I'm coming from, and I welcome you to this class, and I will continue to communicate through the discussions and other videos. So, in the meantime, you guys have a good day and enjoy this class as it's coming forward.